Hello, hello, my dear friends, you've reached Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. She'll help improve your fitness, but there's also so much more. 'Cause here are just a few things that this channel has in store. There's barre and there's Pilates and there's belly dancing too. And many styles of yoga, so I'm sure there's one for you. Then watch her practice pianist stream from right within her home. She's in such big condition, she'll outrun the metronome. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. They're the best place on the internet, the very best by far. It's not just the piano, but the ukulele too. The guitar and violin are even more that she can do. She does so many different things, it's hard not to lose track. I nearly didn't mention that she posts on her Substack. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. Yet controversial topics may be brought up for discussion, but try not to provoke her or she'll swear at you in Russian. And sometimes certain topics can make quite a big impression. So remember, you take part at your own risk and your discretion. Yeah, Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. You might even meet Anita if you're quite a loyal fan. She's got a fixed male cat, but she's so desperate for a man. We've really got it all, then you couldn't ask for more. So sit right back and watch Elena shave a 3 or 4. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far.
Hello, hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to Elena's Barre and the Resurgence of Sanity. How are you doing, guys, today?
Doing well.
Doing well. Are you
Sleepy.
excited? Oh, sleepy. Yeah, our dog woke us up so early today. Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, guys, we are going to talk about a fun topic. It's a follow-up to the previous live stream that we did last week when we talked about femininity and feminine women. Now, on the opposite, we are going to talk about combative women. And yeah, if you are joining us, remember to please tell us what you think about these topics, share your experiences and your observations with these crazy, toxic, delusional, and combative women. We always love to pick on them, right, guys?
Well, you know what? I'm going to do something different today.
Go for it.
I have been so hard on women in all of our streams. Today, I'm going to defend women.
Okay. That will be interesting. Looks like we are going to have a little bit of debate here. Anyway, guys, I was thinking of doing a shorter video and then I wrote a few notes here. So what are the combative women? Well, based on what we've talked last week, combative women are the women who rebel against God's design and the hierarchy, right? They are not in their place. They are out of pocket. They are very argumentative. They never shut up, right? They don't know when to shut up. Then these are the women who are pursuing the feminist ideals. Remember, she knows her value. She knows her worth. She believes she deserves the best man who will love her unconditionally, who will worship and pedestalize her, right? And then she believes that she's entitled to nice things, good attitude, just for being the table. And we've seen it so many times on these popular Red Pill shows, on Fresh and Fit, on whatever podcast, on Access Vegas. When guys ask women, what do you bring to the table? She says, I'm the table, right? Essentially, what she's saying is that I'm a run-through whore or I'm an undercover whore. I don't have to bring any value to anybody. I just take value from others, especially men in this case. So, yeah. Then combative women are the women who don't know their place, who have never been held accountable for their actions by their father, by their husbands, and by other men. She has never been told no. This is why we see that they always whine, moan, and complain, and they try to guilt trap men into giving them what they want.
Okay. Yep.
The list goes on and on and on, so feel free to stop me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's men's fault. It is. You just said she doesn't know her place. She's not in her place. What? You expect a woman to know her place and just go there like an obedient dog?
Well, we were talking about compliant women last time, right?
Okay, no, wait. What is the phrase? Put a woman in her place.
Yeah.
Okay, if she's not in her place, when you say put, that requires an action by a man.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, she should be raised. Okay, it's a hierarchy, it's a role thing to understand her role, what she's best at. And yeah, the father does a lot to do that. He needs to say no, he needs to enforce boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Because if she's out of her place, she's crossing boundaries. So she wasn't taught that by her father. Okay, blame her father. And now she's in a marriage and she's bossing her husband around. Gee, could it be her husband didn't put her in her place or doesn't know how or allows her to get away with that? Okay, he's not enforcing boundaries, so it's not her fault because women will expand into vacant space.
I understand your point, Steve. I agree with it, but we can't blame just the man in this situation because this is actually what the feminists want. Let's just blame the man, right? Yeah, we are experiencing this feminist issue, and Tommy Laren, my husband, shared a video where she was saying, "Oh yes, we are experiencing this feminism issue, but men are decaying, men are not masculine enough, men are this, men are that." How about women are not willing to comply? In order for men to lead, a woman has to comply with his lead.
No, you got it wrong.
Okay.
A man can only lead if a woman complies. I think you got the cart before the horse.
Nick is here with us.
A
Nick.
man has to lead.
Mm-hmm.
And then she can follow or get out or leave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so think about it. Okay, yeah, women are really too much in our modern society. They take more effort of a man, more management skills, because feminism has made them so extreme. Gee, there's a lot going on there. Therefore, in order to bring them into line with the proper order, and they'll actually feel more content and satisfied and protected and secure. But it takes an equal amount of masculinity to counter the feminist ideas. Men do not, women have gone so far and men have come so far that men lack the ability to actually do it. It takes a lot of will and a lot of force. You know what I mean, Plutarch?
I know exactly what you mean. No. See, okay. Take a woman like Elena over here. Okay. lots of people, they gas her up in the comments and DMs, and they say, "Oh, Elena, you're such a good woman." All that. This. Okay, guys. First, that does go to her head, and then it takes. You've heard her say, and you'll hear me say, it takes a village to restrain a woman. Well, when you men gas up women like that, it takes more energy to restrain a woman. And that's what Steve's talking about here.
So, guys, could you please repeat it? Because I had to pick up my dog, otherwise he was whining. I'm so sorry. He's misbehaving today.
No.
Okay, I'll just say it in a different way.
Okay.
You're driving the car down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And the car drifts over and crosses the white line. You need to make a minor course correction to bring it back in line. Women is like the car. Okay, if she drifts off a little bit, crosses the line, a minor course correction. Feminism is like women are off the side of the road and in the ditch.
Okay.
The course correction that the man needs to make, he's got to turn that wheel a lot. He's got to use a lot of skill to do it, to get that car back up on the road between the lines. It's an immense effort. Women are so far in the ditch that most men don't have the skills to bring them back onto the road.
So is it really the man's fault then? Well, I mean, I understand your point where you were saying that men didn't put women in their place when it was necessary. So yeah, but like women assuming all of the power, all of the control, and
the car's not going to put itself back on the road. It takes an action to bring it there.
But if they don't want, like after they've been given all of this power, all of this control, they are not going to voluntarily give it up.
No, they're going to stay driving down the ditch.
And then
maybe a man can come along to steer that car back up on the road. But no, it's like a car with bad steering. It's always going to drift back into the ditch. It takes constant effort. Most men, number one, don't have the ability to do that. And the men that do have the ability, fuck, I'm not going to do that. Have to make these corrections all the time. It takes superhuman effort. Because, if you have a well-handling car, it's easy to keep on the road. If you got a car with loose steering, oh man, the amount of attention it requires is just not worth it.
Well, this is why we will see most men are checking out. They don't want to deal with women.
Yeah.
And you can't really blame them, for checking out and not wanting to deal with the combative, delusional, narcissistic women out there.
No. Well, okay. If I am driving a car and it's got bad steering,
mm-hmm.
and I can't fix the bad steering, there is a procedure for fixing bad steering.
Mm-hmm.
You take the car, you put it up on a rack. There's these bolts you turn under the car, and it realigns the wheels and doesn't steer so bad. Okay, there's a procedure for that. But there's a point in a car's life where that doesn't work anymore. Okay? So what do we do? Well, you have two choices. You can either keep driving the car and probably crash and die in a fire.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you can go get a new one.
True. But you can fix that car. You bring it in. It's going to require new control arms, new ball joints. Probably your CV boots are bad. New bushings on the sway bar. Oh, you got to rebuild the damn thing. It's a lot of work.
Yep.
And expensive. And still, when you're done, what do you have? An old car
an old car. I mean, car analogies are fun, but what women think that they are a brand new G-Wagon. Okay. And when men come in and they say, no, you're a beat up Toyota Corolla with 250,000 miles on it, you know, from their body count, they go, you don't understand. That's just not true. The delusional stuff comes in when they try to deny the wear and tear that they've put on themselves as wear and tear. They try to say, oh, no, that's not actual damage. Or my personal favorite, they say, well, that's just normal. Every other car is like that.
You know what you call that stuff? It's not damage, it's experience.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's definitely an experience. Yeah. But the problem is that they're asking for G-Wagon prices when they're, you know, Toyota Corolla with 250,000 miles on it.
Right. And the man is kind of pretending like it is a G-Wagon. And he's not prepared for the amount of effort it's going to keep this old semi-worn out car going down a straight path on the road. It takes more skill.
Not especially when women try to conceal that they are such a worn out car by superficial adjustments, let's say.
Well, so
lipstick on a pig, right?
Well, but there's an interesting thing that's happening in the car world right now that actually keeps with this analogy. And you guys, you see these cars with they put these vinyl wraps over certain parts of the bodywork. You know, it's a different color. I was watching a video, and apparently anymore, you cannot sell a car if it has a wrap on it anymore, because you have to take the wrap off to determine if the paint underneath is damaged. I was watching a video with a guy, he's got this Audi R8 and it's got a wrap over the carbon fiber. And he's and he's like, they start peeling the wrap off, and of course the carbon fiber's been sun damaged pretty badly. And so with carbon fiber wrapped cars, with vinyl wrapped cars, you have to undo all the wrap. Now some people wrap their cars and then they stay. It actually keeps the paint in good condition, and if you take the wrap off, you can sell it for more. And the video is kind of a compare and contrast. So, but here's the difference is: did you put the wrap on right when you bought the car and the paint was still in good condition? Okay, then the wrap protected the paint. Or did you put it on after all of right, to cover the damage, right? So having a man around to put the wrap on the woman early on in her life, when they're kids, and she will be a better woman later on because she had a protective covering. But if you put the makeup on, after 5 years of sun damage, well, sorry, lady, but your skin still looks leathered up from all that time in the pool,
Christianity is kind of the same thing. If she followed Christian principles from day one, it would protect her. But if she had some experience and then comes in and puts on the Christian principles, it's like the wrap on an old car. It covers up a lot of defects.
Yeah.
The Christianity is a particularly popular rap these days, isn't it, Steve?
It is.
Well, wait. There is also femininity rap where they are basically packaging all all of the
Oh.
feminist ideals and presenting them under a different light.
No, the church. Look, we can pick on any number of possible forms of wrapping paper or vinyl wrapping or whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it. The point there is that you're taking something that is damaged,
Yeah.
and putting a cheap skin over it to make it appear not damaged. The cars,
So you can sell it for more money.
yes.
So it's more
Yes.
valuable.
Well, it always reminds me of people buying these. Previously, people were buying these flip houses when they would say buy a cheap house and then they fixed a few things and then they would sell it for much more.
Sure.
It kind
Yeah,
of reminded
that's-
me of that. Yeah.
That's kind of what's. It's a little different. The point here is that the women are using cheap workarounds and then
Mhm.
complaining when the man gets in the car and says, "Wait a minute, this car doesn't drive right. The motor's got a misfire, the alignment's all whacked out, and I can't control it. But it looks good on the outside."
Yeah.
And what the women are complaining about is that the men are noticing that it might look good on the outside, but it doesn't drive right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know, Steve, have we taken this analogy too far? Or
No, man, you're describing my ex-wife. Looks good on the outside, but she doesn't drive right.
It's like, form over function. This is what they are prioritizing.
Well,
as long as
okay,
it looks
but
good, but it doesn't function, it doesn't work, right?
Women always prioritize form over function
Mhm.
about everything. That is how women have existed and survived throughout history. So
Yeah.
that doesn't surprise me. And saying that's bad, it's not bad and it's not wrong. Those are survival traits, right? We're not saying that women doing this is wrong. 'Cause it's not. It's a survival trait.
Okay, survival. Well, they are trying. Okay. They don't want to do the hard work, right? They don't want to fix the big problem
What
in it.
woman in history has wanted to do the hard work? I got a question for you because you're my wife and I already know the answer.
Okay.
When have you wanted to do the hard work?
Never, but I mean, I'm talking about. I'm talking.
No.
I'm talking about the here.
No.
They don't want to do that kind of work.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
If a good outcome in your marriage is going to happen, who's driving the car?
The man.
And if he's not driving, where's the car going to end up? Wandering all over the road, in the ditch, in the field, adjacent. Who knows? If no one's driving a car, women think they're driving, plotting their own course through life. No. Ooh, there's a squirrel.
Okay.
Women turn the wheel when they get distracted by something and they get off the road and they stay off the road because
go ahead, Steve.
No, they you know what, it's a man's job to drive the car, to keep the boundaries and make corrections if the woman crosses the boundaries. And then everything is good. The car is happy because it's going down the road straight and needs a little correction here and there. But the further off it gets, the bigger the correction and the more brutal that correction has to be. And most men Okay, how many men can take a car that's driving in the ditch and bring it back onto the road and make it a good car?
Well, I have a question then. How many men have the legal authority to do that kind of correction, bring it back so that it drives straight?
Now I'm going to answer that with a question. Do I have the legal authority to bring you back straight?
No, not really.
No man has the legal authority to do it. Okay, so
Okay.
it's a pointless question.
Yes. Let me expand on that. No, you don't have the legal authority, but you do have the power. And you do have the God-given authority and ability to do it. Are you going to look to some external force limiting what your options are? Okay, well, then the solution will be beyond.
Okay, guys. Then I ask you, how many men are going to be masculinized and dominant so that they can actually execute and manage women?
Never.
Never enough.
3. Yeah, never enough. 3. Yeah, that's a great answer. 3.
Okay.
There you go. That's what you get. Okay. Look, I mean, we've been talking for 20 minutes now, and all we have really done is a very expansive and verbally rich definition of frame. Okay.
I knew we were going there.
Look, I have no legal authority to do anything with you or to you. You have the legal right to just stand up and walk out and I never see you again. Okay. And there is nothing I can do to stop you. And yet somehow I have kept you from careening off the road too far and getting yourself in trouble. Okay.
Okay.
It's not a matter of top-down control.
Mm-hmm.
I have put boundaries on you,
Mm-hmm.
and you have accepted those boundaries. You can just wake up one day and decide, nope, I'm going to cause the car to go way off the ditch. And you know what I'll do? I'll do exactly what I legally can. And I will say, good on you. Have fun with that. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
Right.
Well, okay.
Because
We are
women
coming here.
driving on the side of the road in the ditch are not very happy.
Yeah, I mean, they are not very happy, but they are also unwilling to accept the boundaries
That
placed
is
upon them by men.
No, that's their problem. See, at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is you're trying to say, you know, women, you need to accept this. And that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is it would be good for the woman if she did accept it. But we can't make her.
Well, you can. You can have great influence, though.
Yes. You can.
And sometimes you can take actions that might not be permissible, legally permissible. But you still have the power to do it.
Yep.
It does come with risks, though.
Well, but when I say make, I'm talking about a very strict definition of, you know, of basically stripping a woman of her agency to leave, right? Or her, if it's women are not command and control automatons, right? It's I don't. There's not a keyboard in Elena's back, and I program a command, and she does the command, right?
Man, that would make life so easy, wouldn't it?
It honestly would. Right. But that ain't how this works. And that's what I'm getting at. I can exert influence. I can exert You know, I can set boundaries and I can say, if you cross this boundary, here's the consequence. Okay. Then, but she has to decide, is that consequence worth it? I can't make that decision for her. And men get so caught up in trying to make all of the decisions for women, or they go the complete other way. Oh, well, I can't tell her to do anything at all. Well, it's not about telling her what to do. It's about telling her what the consequences of what she's doing are, and then enforcing the consequences. Women are adult children. How do we deal with children? We say, don't touch the stove. Child touches the hot stove. Oh, mommy, why does my hand hurt? You touched the hot stove after you were told not to.
Well, I have no look. I agree 100% with you guys. It's just when they touch the stove, they decide to do something crazy that a man explicitly told you. So, okay, here are the consequences. He's executing those consequences. It's when the institutions come in and then they start bailing these women out.
Okay, yeah, no, look, that's just a thing. That's just separate over on the side. There's nothing you can do about that as a guy. Okay, I mean, we can vote, but the women vote against us, and it turns into this big political food fight where you're not guaranteed to get what you want out of it, right? I can't walk into Congress tomorrow and say, thou shalt abolish X, right? I have influence over that with my vote, but I can't just walk in and command performance, right? That's just the way things are when you're dealing with groups of people.
And to defend women, most women have not been told, here are the boundaries. This is what happens if you cross the boundaries. They have no clue. Men just walk in and say, oh, she'll stay on the road. I don't have to pay attention. I don't have to drive. We're partners.
Right. So when a man, when there are no men to place any boundaries, because men have been told that women don't need boundaries. Women are fully functional humans capable of acting entirely on their own correctly and safely. The man goes, oh, okay, she's a partner. She's an equal. I shouldn't have to place these boundaries on women. And the red pill is not about, it's really not about browbeating women into trying to be some sort of perfect compliant state being thing. It's about teaching men how to do this.
Well, superficially, a lot of men take it that way. But it doesn't work.
Yeah, yes.
So let me talk a little bit about that abuse allegations, indecisions. Women do not like to make decisions. Try asking a woman, oh, let's go out tonight. Where do you want to go out to eat? Yeah. No, she's not going to be able to come up with something. That requires thinking and making a decision and making an affirmative statement. Doesn't want to do that. So when it comes to abuse, the guys who are in control and who, you know what does happen, they are actually abusive men. He's not, in that state, he's not giving her the option of making a decision. Therefore, she doesn't make a decision and she doesn't accuse him and take him to court and do all the nasty stuff, which he probably would deserve. The women that do that, and this is my experience and observation, the women that do that are the women who have not been adequately controlled, so she is put in the position where she's given the freedom, too much freedom, to make the decision and to assert control over her life. And she does make the allegation because it's her out. So the abused women are not helped by the laws. The laws that are meant to help those women are actually used against mostly decent men who didn't assert enough control or leadership. Let's strike control. Let's just say enough leadership. And yes, it does require a rebellious woman, but rebellion is crossing boundaries. And chances are the man did not affirm the boundaries prior to her doing that. Okay, who am I speaking about? I'm speaking about myself.
Yeah. Me in my first marriage, no boundaries.
Well, and the problem is the moment women get that ring, the moment they sign the papers that they are married, they get what they want. If a man doesn't assert the boundaries and he keeps asserting them during the marriage, then she's going to take charge. And then like once women get this power through marriage, it's
Do they
like,
though? Do they? Are they really getting what they want?
well, they don't, but they don't realize it because it's all superficial. Like they get the commitment from the man, and then the law will be on her side regardless. If she chooses to falsely accuse him, she can.
No. That has nothing to do with wants. So I'm a little confused here. Did she get what she wanted? Not really.
I don't care what she wanted. She committed to this man, and then she decided one day she no longer likes him, and then she wants to leave him.
I'm not talking about the oughts. I'm talking about the is. I'm not talking. You're talking about oughts. She should stay with the guy that she committed to. Yeah, she ought to.
I'm
You're
not
right.
talking about the oughts. I'm talking about the most cases when women initiate divorces and they choose to leave guys for whatever reasons.
No. Why do women choose to leave? Because she didn't get what she wanted. Look,
she's not happy.
Okay, why, darling? Hey. Why did your ex choose to leave? She didn't get what she wanted from the marriage with you.
Yeah.
So she found another guy who gave her what she wanted, or so it seemed at that moment, right?
Yeah. Steve, I love how she's not getting it.
Her steering, Plutarch's ex-wife, her steering was really bad. It took a greater man than Plutarch to keep that vehicle on the road.
Mm. Well,
actually, in her particular case, what it took was the wall, but
a guardrail.
Yeah. Because the guy she's with is just as simpy as anybody else, but she's got no other options. So, so that's what I mean when I say the wall. But here's what I'm saying. Okay. A woman gets, when she marries a guy, she is getting something, but it's not what she wants. Okay. What she wants is the 437 bullet point checklist of things, right? Okay.
Well, it's delusional.
Yeah. No. I know. I know it's delusional.
Okay.
That's the problem. The problem is that she has this delusion that no man can meet, and so she spends her entire life hopping, or to continue with the car analogy, swerving all over the road looking for that guy who can meet all of these demands, right? Oh, another word that's a little older is careening. She careens from one man to the next, from one accident or, from one car crash to the next, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's an out of control car. And that's kind of what Steve is getting at.
Yeah. I get it. Mm-hmm.
In this case, in this analogy, the woman isn't so much choosing as, now you can bring in the legal stuff and say, well, the legal system has created an environment where this is easy to do. Okay. And that's true, but don't think that just because it's easy now that women weren't doing it before when it was harder.
Well, they were doing it before. I'm not saying that. It's just to a lesser degree because
Sure,
they
because
were restrained. There was external. Women need external restraint. Whether it comes from society or men. Look, numbers haven't changed so much. There were alphas back then, there are alphas now. They were called differently back then than we call them now, right? So the statistics doesn't really change here because most men are not going to be alpha men. But the social structure has changed.
Yes, the social structure has changed. Women have not changed. And we're not going back to a social structure of top-down imposition on women. We're not.
Not anytime soon, but we may eventually get there. It'll be after I'm dead.
If it's after Steve's dead, then we've gone through quite a bit of hell in the meat space to get there.
Mm-hmm.
We won't be talking on YouTube anymore. Got levels of destruction is that to get back that far.
Right.
I don't think we're going to go that far. I think things will get bad, but I don't think they'll get that bad. If you look in history, humanity very rarely goes backwards like that. It just stays flat for a very long time. Anyway, so, but this idea that okay, Steve, you're going to like where this next thought goes. Okay. Because here's what she's actually saying. And it's what all women say. The state needs to come in and enforce the rules that I like on the population. What does that sound like to you, Steve?
I see where you are headed with that. Okay.
Marxism, communism, feminism.
It's going to happen anyway. The state will do it. No.
Well, see, what you're asking for is your brand of state enforced control over the population. It's no different. It's just Marxism with a different slogan on the banner.
She's also saying she's looked at the men out there and she doesn't think the men out there are capable of doing it.
Bingo.
Yet she wants it to happen. So we need somebody else, like the state, to come in and impose that because the men are not capable.
Oh, I wish men were more masculine. I wish there were more men in the red pill, honestly.
There have never.
She just agreed.
Yep, she did. She's sitting there not realizing that we just called her a communist.
Well, she is Russian.
That's true. Gentlemen, she comes by it naturally. And we are so picking on her now.
It's fine. Well,
Okay.
Okay.
No. I need to address something here.
If we compare, okay.
No, I need to address something.
Okay.
You said there's not enough men. Didn't you?
I didn't say there are not enough men. There are not enough masculine men.
Yeah, okay, whatever. There's not enough men. Guess what? Never in human history have there been enough. So asking for more is like asking for the sky to be purple tomorrow or green. Good luck, Godspeed, and I'm going to go do something else with the rest of my day.
But society is making more of those men right now. The whole MGTOW movement is making those men.
Yep.
And, oh, do they have the skills? Maybe not, but they have their requirements and their boundaries. And if you're going to be my woman, I'm not putting up with this crap. Otherwise, I'm going my own way again.
I 100% support that.
So
Yes.
it's teaching those men some lessons, and they're imposing their reality on society,
Yeah.
regardless of the laws.
So the laws and the state are irrelevant.
Always have been.
Okay.
This is why you don't find a whole lot of statists and communists in the red pill, because the red pill has figured out that, yeah, the women use the power of the state to coerce
that's
men.
True. That's true.
They do. But at the end of the day, all the women can do is use the state to impose what women are capable of doing.
Well, and
what
then
women-
if men were using the institutions to impose their power on women, then they would be doing the same thing as the feminists are doing.
Well,
no?
Yes. Okay. And see, it is the realization that the state does not actually have the power. The state, because the state can only do what the women who control it think to do with it, right?
Mhm.
The state can only do what the men who control it think to do with it. Now, the men don't control it right now. The women do, even if they control it through sock puppets with penises, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So, but here's what happens. The state comes in, they put this blanket of rules about, how men are supposed to behave. And so men check out. They go their own way. And what can the state do about that?
Nothing.
Oh, well, there's some dystopian theories about what the state could do. The state could come in and force you at literal gunpoint to have sex with a woman, or it gets pretty dark what they could do.
Mhm.
And we would have a
Well, I mean,
revolution
like
long before we got there.
legally, there is not much they can do. Everything else, if they involve force, then
No. Remember your Russian
isn't
history.
isn't it unconstitutional?
Geez, somebody's in a mood today. I'm gonna have to break out the mute button. Okay, here we go. She's muted now. So the law is whatever the state says it is. So if the state decides that it needs to start imposing more laws on men's behavior, and they would call it pro-social. And in fact, you're starting to see this with the tradcons right now coming in and saying we need to wife up these women. We've got a birth rate problem, and we need to figure out why all these men aren't having, aren't wifing up these church slores. Okay. Yeah, I've been talking about that on Twitter recently. It's a top of mind thing for me. Okay. The state can absolutely try to come in and use force to enforce any outcome it desires. Okay. And you know what the men will do? Even less than they're doing now.
They'll figure out workarounds.
Well, there's an old saying in Russian, and I can't repeat the Russian, but the translation goes like this. It's from the Stalin era. We pretend to work, and they pretend to pay us.
Oh, yes, I know that one. Uh-huh.
I knew you would, but it's that kind of thing that happens. The more the state tries to control the outcomes, the more the men pretend to follow the laws and not actually do anything. Okay, so that's what I mean when I say the power of the state is illusory. Right now, men are playing along with it, but you see movements like MGTOW that are basically just putting up middle fingers to everyone and saying, "Nah, I'm going to do what I'm going to do." But don't mistake that for thinking that there's some sort of glut of strong men out there right now who can just stand up and make whatever happens. There's still not enough of them.
Well, and women are not desperate enough to give up
The
their
desperation of women makes them more manageable.
Yes, that's
Without that desperation, it takes more effort by men. So here's another interesting thing that I've observed externally, a little bit in my own life. So you meet a woman, during that first 6 months, you can be more aggressive and assertive and actually hurt her feelings more, more physical, all kinds of that stuff. And she'll stay. It's not a problem. But then later on, if she loses respect for you, and if she develops contempt, if you look at her crosswise, now she's going to file charges against you.
Yes. Even though she enjoyed it when you were doing it.
Right, because she was feeling completely different. So
this is what I was saying at the beginning.
It's all based on, and now think of it. Those chads out there that are getting all the women, they're not treating the women well. But the women are responding to it because they're in their fields and there's some infatuation and desire there. They don't have contempt for those men. Therefore, those men get away with more. And part of the reason they're successful is because they are so assertive to do that.
They are assertive
by
and
being
stiff.
A nice guy, you're cutting yourself out of the chase.
Exactly. Yeah, this is where I actually this is what I was thinking. These chats, they don't commit to these women. The nicer guys, and like I'm not describing every masculine man who is married out there who can put his woman in place, like as a nice guy, but like for the most part, okay, in general, the nice guys, they're the ones who are willing to commit to women. And this is why women lose all of their contempt. They lose all of the respect for them. They have contempt because they know, and I think Donovan Sharp pointed it out, that subconsciously they know that they are not a wife material. And they kind of expect men to play with them and not to take them seriously, not to commit to them. And then when a man commits to this kind of a woman, then she's like, but I'm not worthy of that commitment. Why did you do it? You get my point?
That's the lack of respect problem.
Yeah.
Okay. She knows, women know what they are, and when they see a guy give them too much, they go, well, clearly there's something wrong with you. So I can't respect you because you're broken.
There's an easy way to say this. Commitment doesn't make her panties fall off.
Yeah, true. Look, and guys, that's just the hard truth. You want to make her panties wet? You've got to do other things. Commitment ain't it, bro.
Yeah.
We're not saying commitment is bad. Okay. It's very pro-social, good for families, good for children. But it ain't what turns her on.
Commitment is not what gets the woman. Now
Correct.
you should bring it in at some point. Because, hey, if you're out banging a lot of women, which you can do, and not give commitment, okay, it's possible. But ultimately, you're actually hurting yourself too. You're going to find out that it's an empty existence. You don't have to listen to me. I mean, you're going to do what you're going to do. So have at it. But at the end, yeah, you can have a high notch count. And then, so what? And you're not going to be happy. The man is not going to be happy. Most men. Yeah, there's some delusional few of that are trying to it's kind of like drugging themselves. It's a delusion. It's an illusion. But do what it's your life. Do what you want.
Yeah, there's always going to be a certain population of men who are Chad player types. And look, that's just that they have always been with us and they will always be with us. And they'll be okay with it.
Mhm.
But we have to accept that the vast majority of men really aren't interested in the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not here to help the Chads. Those guys can take care of themselves just fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. When you're talking to men, actual, just normal men, they don't care about, when you talk to actual normal men, most of them view men with high notch counts kind of the same way that they view women with high notch counts. And there's actually a really good biological reason for this. Extreme sexual promiscuity is a biological marker of somebody who is an extreme risk taker. And extreme risk takers are antisocial people. And from a biological standpoint, humans are tribe. We are a tribe species. We form tribes to come together to build, in this case, civilization. Well, the risk taker is the guy who represents the biggest threat from humanity to that.
Mm.
So, yeah, we celebrate guys who get yes, there is a celebration that, oh yeah, that guy, he got him some. But there's a point where most men look at it and go, okay, you got yourself a lot of.
Well, and isn't it the same when how we celebrate public horse and then we just turn it around and celebrate the male horse too? Could you make that argument?
Highly promiscuous people, men and women,
and men and women, okay,
are both antisocial. Okay, for different reasons, but they both are.
Let me ask you a question. You in your life have known some acquaintances, maybe even close acquaintances, who are a ladies' man, who are always out there on the prowl. He's married, he may be cheating on his wife. If he's single, he may be banging married ladies. He's just always just a horn dog. Now, can you trust that man? If you say, hey, I need something, and you call him up, hey, I need you to be here at a certain time to do this and to help me out. Is that man trustworthy?
No.
To be there when you need.
He's not. And I was, as you were walking through your example there, I had just had this vision. The chud, the Chad guy with lots of notches. A lot of men are going to be suspicious of him around that man's women. Could be his wife, could be his grown daughter, right? Because the player don't care. Okay.
Yeah, they just play. Yeah. Mhm.
Right. Okay. And
For the
fine.
numbers.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Like that's their game. But as a man responsible for one or more women, I look at you and I go, you're a threat.
Yeah, I don't trust him.
Mm-hmm.
And when I've needed to call upon him, he has not been there for me. So he's not trustworthy in my personal life. And I certainly don't trust him around women in my life.
Yeah.
Right. Because we know what he is. He's shown us what he is, right? And so you don't trust men like that. And the only way you can bring value to other men is to be trustworthy. Okay? Other men will not allow you to bring value if you're not trustworthy. We'll look at you and you will go, yeah, you might have something to value to bring, but I don't trust you. So I'm not gonna invite you in. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna invite you into my business. I'm not going to invite you into my home. I'm not going to invite you into my political unit, tribe, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to invite you in. So the rise of the Chad is somewhat dependent on the same systems on the same governmental systems as feminism is.
That makes sense.
Here we are talking, we're supposed to be talking about combative women, and what are we doing? We're talking about men. Because at the end of the day, combative women are a result of what these men are and are not doing.
So why are we talking about this? Elena, why are we talking about this?
Hello?
I'm writing, darling. Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah. Okay. I want to see if she'll get it, because she won't. Why are we talking about this given your topic?
So that I don't dunk on women?
No.
I'm kidding,
Simple.
guys. Okay.
It's simple. I framed the issue at the very beginning. And we went with my frame. That's it, guys. That's how frame works.
Okay. Isn't it how it always works? Whenever I select a topic, you take it to the completely opposite direction from where I wanted us to go.
I know. You wanted us to sit here and trash women.
Okay.
Look, well, but here's where
I will trash them in my shorts.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you will. So, guys, if she's unhinged on Instagram this week, you'll know what drove it. Combative women are a result, not a cause.
Yeah, I know. I figured it out. Yeah. It's they behave in it because men gave them the authority and the power to behave that way.
I don't know that gave is rather strong. I think.
Well, I mean, by giving up their own authority, their leadership, their headship, they.
Well,
what else do we expect women to do with it?
Think of this more as an experiment. Women 100 years ago got really, really angry and said, men, you need to give us power and control because you've had it for so long, and it's our turn now, and we can do so much better to you. And men were like, well, okay, we'll give it a try. And then women proceeded to trash the joint. And now the men are like, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. But we're not there. We're not there yet to men reasserting control. It's just men are just kind of waking up to maybe not such a good idea.
Isn't it what was told in the Bible in Genesis? Where
No,
a
it's
demon was
Isaiah 3 and Isaiah 4.
But it's also in Genesis when she tried to take decisions and she wanted to seek the knowledge from that.
Well, Genesis 3, her desire shall be for her
For
husband.
your husband, exactly.
Her desire, not her decision. Her desire, her motivation, her nature will be to be the husband. It's not love of the husband. It's to be the husband. And what is the consequence? And he shall rule over her.
Sure, yeah.
So he needs to rule, but she's gonna try.
She's going to try. So what happened with the feminist movement, right? When women said, well, men, you already ruled for so many decades. Let us rule now because we've been suppressed or whatever BS they came up with. This was an attempt to throw men off their dominion, right?
Yeah, but this is not new in history.
Oh, and this is why I'm saying that it's not new. We've already seen it. And
go read the Bible. It happened multiple times in the Bible. Women throw off. I mean, I mentioned Isaiah 3 turns into Isaiah 4. You'll hear Nick say it all the time.
Yeah.
Isaiah is not Genesis. You know, if for those of you who haven't read the Bible, Isaiah occurs thousands of years after Genesis. Okay. This is the state of humanity. It just is. There is no technological solution for it. But every once in a while, we think we have the technology to change it. And then 100 years later, you find out, well, not really. And then we go back and start all over again.
Here's a perfect example. Oh, we have evolved. We've found new truths. That owning people, I don't want to say the word, but the whites kind of owning blacks, that whole thing and the whole reason for the war. Oh, we now know better. That was evil. We're not going to do that again. Now we've evolved. Okay, the Bible never said that thing was sinful or evil. Now, I'm not in favor of it. But as a society, we've said, no, not going to be. But yet, it still exists in our country every day where men who their wife decided to get rid of them, divorce them, they are now have garnishment on their wages. Their sweat is taken from them. Their labor is taken from them and given to someone else. That is the same damn thing. We didn't abolish it. Human nature didn't change that much. It's still there.
We came up with fancy new words. That's the sum total of what we did.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. We just came up with some
new
words.
Justifications.
It
used to be the white man was superior and God put him here to do this role. Now we've given up on that. No, now it's the woman is superior. So she gets this honorable role and she gets to decide. And her will is law.
And now we get to have another bloody dispute. I mean, look, this is just the nature of human history. There's a phrase that keeps rolling through my head whenever we discuss these kinds of things, and that is, all this has happened before, and all of this will happen again. It comes from a TV show, but it's based on Ecclesiastes. Of there of the Ecclesiastes, the idea that there is nothing new under the sun.
Right.
Humans are not. Yeah, we have some really cool technology. I mean, we're sitting here, three people who are, well, Elena and I are in the same building, but Steve's 1,500 miles away, and I've got the stream up, but at the same time, I'm in the background on a different screen. I've got analytics for videos up. I've got another stream of like we have all this great technology, and yet here we are fighting the same fights that were being fought 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. Human psychology hasn't changed that much. And anybody who says that, we're going to be able to come in and it's going to be a whole new world. No, there's not going to be a whole new world. And there are people on the, even in the red pill are saying in trading, we laugh at this. If you hear this term, this is a derisive term in trading. This is a term that we use to mock idiots. This time is different. No, it's not. This time is never different because human psychology hasn't changed enough for it to be any different. People, a housing market right now. The housing market's a little soft right now, and particularly in the south of the country. Okay. And so right now on Twitter, there's this huge war of people saying, oh, housing rarely ever experiences crashes. And housing never goes down and all of this. And like housing went down 30% in 2008, guys. And you just tell them that. And what do they say? This time is different.
Every time, every current era, this time is different.
Yeah, and it's just not true. Like this time is never different because the psychology driving it is not different. It gets overused, but the cycle of that we talk about, bad time, weak men create bad times create strong men create good times create weak men. The reason that cycle is there is because the psychology hasn't changed. And we're doing the woman thing now, but that hasn't worked. And so what are men doing? Well, men are exercising their power to walk away. And so, yes, combative women aren't wives. So what are men doing? They're not dealing with combative women. Shocker of shockers.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So we have another saying in trading. The cure for high prices is high prices. People can't afford high prices relative to their income, so they stop buying. And then what do prices have to do? They have to fall. So I'll rephrase this. The cure for combative women is combative women.
Okay. Now I'm going to say that I love the combative women. Keep up, ladies. We are headed in the right direction.
Well, so guys, I've said this before, and I'll have to say it again. A lot of what Elena says and does gets run through me. And so there's a lot of things that you never hear that she comes up with. And then I have to say, meh, we don't care. This topic is actually one of those. Like over on the Resurgence, I don't know that we've ever made a specific topic out of combative women or, stuff like that. Why? Because the cure for combative women is combative women. Just let them go. Let them be. And people will what people will say, and there is a just concern here, is, oh, well, but what are we going to do with these women later on in life? Well,
I don't care.
Well, it is a social problem. What do you do with a bunch of old women who have zero prospects? I'm talking like 50 and older, and so here's what they do. They get an 8x8 cell in a project somewhere, and that's what they get, because that's what they're worth, and that's what we can afford to give them.
So
Okay, but okay, I'm asking. I have another leading question. Sorry, Steve. What
Go
will
ahead.
happen? What will happen to the kids of these combative women, the from the single family households?
Nothing good, but that's
my
no.
concern.
There's always a long tail to deal with. You just deal with it.
Some of them will be so disgusted with the women who raised them that they will find the truth. The men who were raised by that become really hardened against women.
Yep.
They become MGTOW or
Yep.
or Chads. They either just run through the women or avoid women. I don't know. Maybe they become simps and cater to women. Certainly some of them do, but I don't think that's a common outcome. So that's probably self-corrective too. But what's the biggest problem with women in marriage? They nag their husbands. They turn into nags. Oh, what are women doing now? Single women. What are they doing?
Nagging the whole world.
Oh, they're
Yes.
nagging the world and complaining about how the men are not behaving properly. Well, what happens if you nag your husband? He withdraws. He's still providing. But what happens if single women nag single men? They withdraw. And they don't get any provision or any attention. So, since it's not working, what do these nagging women do?
Well, they
Get on TV and bitching about it.
Some of them will, but some of them will be maybe smarter than that. They will start LARPing.
No. The most of them. What do most of them do? If the first round of nagging didn't work, you double down and nag harder.
Yes, guys.
So the harder you nag,
the
more the man distance from you.
Yes,
the cure.
See this in marriage all the time.
No,
She starts on nagging a bit, and he moves away. She nags
so she
more
nags
and more.
more.
He moves further away. And he spends more time at work, more time, and she just turns into a damn battle axe. He moves even further away. The more she nags, and every time her nagging doesn't work, she doubles down.
Well, there will be some women, and I see it's getting really, really, really popular, guys, on social media in particular. Women start LARPing and virtue signaling because they do realize that nagging doesn't work, doesn't give them what they want. So they flip the mask, they change it. It's still lipstick on a pig because they are in their 30s, in their middle 20s.
Calm down. This isn't a problem you can correct, and it's not a problem because one of two things is going to happen. Okay? Number one, they get a guy again, and they go back to being a combative bitch. And then they lose the guy. The cure for combative women is combative women. Or they say, I'm actually going to do it differently this time, and they do it differently, and they don't become a combative bitch, and the marriage doesn't fall apart magically this time. The cure for the combative women was the combative woman realizing that didn't work and doing something else. That's called outcome independence. It doesn't matter which of these outcomes happen. Both of them cure the problem.
One of them just needs to go around again and try it again. A certain amount of them will escape, but not very many. So most of them just keep circling around and around doing the same thing. But a few escape. Escape the cycle, I should say.
Right. So it doesn't, like, it's why you don't see us sitting here, going, oh, these combative women, rah, 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 we got to fix these combative women. The problem will resolve itself in due time if the men keep pulling away. And the men are naturally disposed to pull away. So we are pitting human nature against human nature.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't matter if the woman is combative, because all she'll do is push men away and convince men, the men that she wants, that they should have nothing to do with her.
Okay, guys, we have a comment from Coach Vlad. Thank you for joining us, Coach Vlad. Until biblical women hold other women accountable, society will continue to self-destruct. I have been saying for a long time, men hold each other accountable and women don't.
Oh, let me address this.
Yeah, go for it.
True. Men hold each other accountable and women don't. It will never happen for women to hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. It may appear that it was that way in the past, but it really wasn't. Because society had certain limits. So a woman in a marriage who was fully dependent on her husband was at risk. She didn't want her husband being tempted by these other women. It was in her self-interest to shame the other women, and she was actually under the dominion of her husband. So it wasn't her independence shaming other women. It was her in her enlightened self-interest given societal concerns. So expecting women to police other women will not going to happen. You're expecting the world, the women to change so the men can take control. Basically, you're saying it's women's fault and the men are subservient to what the women do. No, men do, women react.
And we see so many Bible chicks on social media talking Bible, but they are mostly virtue signaling there. So, like, how would women hold each other accountable? You can, I mean, you can call out horse for horse behavior, right? But that's the extent you can do. And then even then, nobody will listen. Like women are not going to listen to you unless they are forced, unless something externally happens that forces them to change their mind, to change their behavior.
What you're talking about is women do have an enforcement mechanism, that slut shaming, etc. Okay, that enforcement mechanism is derived from a woman's desire to protect what's hers.
Yes.
Go back to what I was talking earlier about, men don't trust other men with high notch counts.
Well, I don't trust other women with high notch count because it impacts
well, it's not about, for women it's not about the notch count. It's when women see, well, actually it is. When women see a slut, they go, oh, he might or she might try to go after my man.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
But
that is derived from the man.
Elena,
enforcement is derived from the man. Go ahead, Steve.
How well do you trust waitresses that have
Not at
fun banter
all.
with your husband?
Not at all. I don't trust them. This is why we are either ordering food or we are eating at home.
So
I don't trust women, Steve. Haven't you figured it out yet?
So
I don't
women-
trust married women. I don't. Well, I do. Okay. I have sympathy for married women. I can understand. I can relate to some married women who are claimed, who are under the guidance of their husbands, right? Who are not like, she's not the boss babe who takes all of the decisions in the family. I don't trust those women. And then I don't trust single women.
So what I'm trying to get at, and you're listening to Elena sort of describe it, is women's enforcement mechanisms on other women are derived from the systems that men create. So this system that we called slut shaming was derivative of the church, and it was the church's proscriptions against sexual promiscuity that built it. And so the women would enforce it against other women, but they did so under the color of authority of a man, specifically the pastor, priest, bishop,
Well,
etc.
now who holds authority in church? It's not the man, it's the women.
Well,
This is why they embrace all of the whores or reformed whores.
So,
Yeah.
So here's slut shaming. You're married to a woman. You're providing for her. Regardless of how good your marriage is. You're out and about and you encounter another woman. And you're getting along with her. A little bit of banter. Okay, it has nothing to do with whether the husband would stray or not. He's just interacting. What she fears is he will take a liking to her. And things might happen. And if things happen, then he's maybe going to use some of his resources to give to this other woman, which threatens his wife. So is she slut shaming
Or is she
to
protecting
control other women, or is she protecting her own resources? I say she's protecting her own resources.
That's what I'm doing. I don't want any of these bitches to go after my man.
So don't expect women, for altruistic reasons,
Right.
to go out and start slut shaming.
I mean,
to fix society.
Do I care about the well-being of children? Even if we don't have children, I love kids, guys. I do care, and I see how detrimental the fatherlessness is for children. So yeah, there is some kind of altruism in there, but I also care about what's mine. Right? I'm trying to protect what's mine.
Okay, I have to address this. Agent Smith, this is factually incorrect. Patriarchy was not created. The Council of Nicaea happens many years after the story of the Bible. However, if you go read any of the Old Testament, you will see patriarchy run through all of it. And that happened millennia before the Council of Nicaea. So factually incorrect.
In Genesis, Adam was created with dominion. Okay, then he named all the animals and he said, gee, I haven't found a suitable companion. So God created Eve, the woman, as his helpmeet, out of him, not to be his boss. So Adam had patriarchy, and it was passed down from there. And when Jesus is called the Son of Man, it also can be translated the son of Adam. Therefore, that patriarchy existed. And why is the lineage of Jesus outlined in the Bible? Because patriarchy existed and that authority was passed from Adam all the way down through David to Jesus. It was patriarchy. It's not an invention. It's a creation of God. It's the hierarchy. God created patriarchy, not man.
The thing that I find interesting about this concept of patriarchy is that remove Christianity from it. Go to Hinduism. Guess what shows up? Patriarchy. Okay, remove Hinduism. Go to the pagan traditions of Northern Europe. Guess what shows up? Patriarchy. Okay. Patriarchy is natural order. Patriarchy shows up regardless of what system you place around it. Okay. That's it. It has existed since before there was written history, and it will continue to exist for long after we are dead and buried. Okay. It is it turns out that patriarchy doesn't rely on religion. Religions codify it. They codify rules around it, but it existed before there was organized religion as we know it.
Well, we find that in the Gospel of St. John. In the beginning was the Logos. And the Logos was God, and the Logos was with God. Logos, and we errantly call that the word. No, it's Logos. That's the Greek word. That is order. Order of the universe. Yes, and Logos is embodied in the second person of the Trinity, Jesus Christ. But Logos is order. It's hierarchy. It's what God created. It's the natural order. So now, patriarchy is not a man-made human invention.
The idea that it is a man-made human invention has been around in philosophical circles since the 1800s. That idea, the idea that patriarchy is a man-made invention, is primarily a human. It's about a 250-year-old human creation. Before then, no one would have, if you had suggested that, everyone would have looked at you like you grew a second head. Everyone just kind of recognized the natural order for what it was. So no, it's like it doesn't matter which religion, it doesn't matter which ethnicity or tradition that you come from, all of them have patriarchy encoded into it.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't evolve past the natural order to create a new order. It is what it is. Sorry. You know what? If you're the man, you're responsible. You got to take charge. You got to exercise your dominion and your authority under the natural order using principles and morality. You're responsible for that.
I was
try and escape it, but you know what? You'll find out. Not going to work out well for you on this planet or this existence. And whether or not you accept that there's an existence to follow this, it is what it is.
So there's this idea, and the animating principle of the Troons is, if we could just make women into men, then women could lead. But if you could make women into men, then all you'd have is a man. You wouldn't have a woman anymore. So it's ironically very anti-feminist in its You know, so you know, it's like you can say, oh, you know, well, I want an equal woman. No, you don't. You actually don't.
Let me put it this way. If a woman is faithful to me and I'm committed to her and I love her, I'm absolutely willing to die for her. It's in my nature. Protect her, even with my life. I've yet to find a woman who can understand that or really has the same depth of understanding to do that. No, doesn't work that way. Men and women are different. That also reflects patriarchy.
Yeah. You know, well, you know,
Okay.
no. Leave it.
Okay.
No, what if you as a man say you want an equal, then what you want is another man. Like biologically speaking, that's what you're saying. I want an equal partner means I want another man. Women are not equal to you. They are different. A woman can never be equal to you. She's wired fundamentally differently. Different genetics, different biology, different brain hardware, different brain firmware, all of it. She's different. She can't be equal to you. Sorry.
And look, you even ask women, like when you start unleashing all of this camouflage and the persona that they are portraying by being a strong and independent woman, they all say to some at some point, especially when they hit the wall, usually that they don't want to be equal to a man. They want to be
after they hit the wall.
They want they agree to be feminine for the right man, but then they are masculine when they are working because they have to like transition. You are either one thing or the other thing. You can't be both.
So you can say, oh well, she's not physically equal to me. Yeah, okay, she's not, but that doesn't right. Your genetics determine your brain hardware. Your hardware determines the program you're running, the software you're running. You cannot be, a combative woman. A woman cannot be without reprogramming. Cannot be a non-combative woman. Your hardware determines how the software runs. What Genesis 3 and where it talks about, her desire will be her for man, but he will rule over her, right? Okay. What that's saying is that her hardware is built a certain and software is built a certain way, and that's just how it's ever going to be. When you say, oh, I want an equal, you're saying, oh, I want a man, because that would be equal to you. A man thinks the same way. A man acts the same way. A man is built the same way. That's equality. That is why the Troons are so obsessed with becoming men, because they recognize that as women, they cannot be equal to men, but they want that power that men have. And so they say, aha, if I change some external attributes of myself, I can become a man. And then they find out that they can't.
Well, and then they also disrespect this man who want to have an equal partner, who want their women to be like men. Women disrespect this man. They because there is no hierarchy.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about these women. The boss babe. The boss babe, the woman in charge of the marriage, the nagging bitch, the wife, the whatever. She wants to be in control. The feminist, the rabid feminist,
combative.
all of them. Combative. Well, they're rabid too. So, how many of them are happy people? How many of them are content? How many of them are joyful? How many women like that are just fun to be around? Are they happy personally
Yeah.
in their lives?
Mm-mm.
No, they are bitter, angry. They are constantly looking, they're constantly looking for a fight. I mean, they're combative.
Mhm.
And then the only people that they tend to be around, first of all, they don't have many friends, but all of their friends tend to be like them.
Yes.
So,
Misery loves company.
right. So, it's just, but guess what? They are equal. No, seriously, they are. I mean, literally, they're getting together in a group to bitch about men and all of that, and they're equal. They are. They agree. Equality can only be had, and in fact, in psychology, we know there have been studies done on this. Not only is equality there's equality on a gender basis, men and women tend to only be friends with people who are plus or minus 5 IQ points. That is how important and finitely you can specify this equality and find it. Okay. These studies were done in the 1950s, and so if you have an IQ of 120, your friend group is going to be made up of almost entirely people with an IQ of 125 to 115. Almost.
Mhm.
You can have some friends outside of there, but what usually ends up happening is if they're significantly less IQ, you get frustrated with them, and if they're significantly higher IQ, they get frustrated with you, and so there's
then they're mere acquaintances. Could be a
right.
close acquaintance, but they're not a friend.
Right. So, but if you get that in that IQ range where you're close to equal in IQ, then you can be friends. So the hardware matters. The software matters. Okay. And you cannot have anything like equality without equality of hardware and software. So you have to be a woman. So if you're a combative woman, you have to be a combative woman of a certain IQ. Typically for women, it'll be about 100 to 105. So there's lots of other women around. And so you have to have the same software too. Notice how these women get together in groups of other women who agree with them. And
does it mean, darling, let me ask you this question. Does it mean that these women have roughly the same IQ?
oh yeah, they absolutely do.
Okay.
Now remember, the IQ curve for women is much more centered on average.
Average, yeah.
So
100.
they find more people available to them to be friends with.
Mhm.
So the groups can be bigger, but there's if it looks like we're talking about something, there's somebody in the chat who is trolling us that we're having some fun with here.
Yes.
And but we're specifically not bringing up the chats. And
yes.
And the reason we're saying that is because this person thinks that because they are a highly educated person that they have some sort of authority. They're making their entire spurg out in the chat is an appeal to authority. And is sure, whatever, guy.
Yeah, okay. So if I have a dog and I treat the dog like a dog and I train it well, I have boundaries and all that, and the dog just absolutely loves me, is the dog going to bite me?
No, but Steve, I hear a narrative among the Tretcons they know that women are well, some of them, they know, they also criticize women, right, for being public sloths, basically. But yet they say, well, gentlemen, you still need to treat women well, even though they treat you like crap. Like, why would a man with frame, with standards, want to deal with this crap?
No, they don't. But that's what we've been saying this whole stream, is they just
Exactly.
don't. No, they don't. You know, so the reason that we're not bringing up this person's chat is because they're failing the breakfast test all over themselves, and it's kind of funny to watch. And so, you know, it's like, you know, I mentioned the appeal to authority fallacy, and this guy is saying that we think we have authority over him. No, we don't have authority over you. But that's not what I said now, is it? Love how you twist the words, but you're just demonstrating that you're not as smart as you think you are. You think you're making this great argument, but you're actually showing yourself to be a retard, and we don't want to out you like that. We're trying to keep you from.
Oh, okay. Let me address this. Okay, so let me ask you some questions. Should I use prudence in my dealings with women? Please answer yes or no.
Yeah, you should.
Okay, how about justice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Temperance?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, are you just walking through the seven Catholic?
Oh man!
Go for it.
Yeah, fortitude, faith, hope, and charity. Now, if these are the 7 virtues, and I'm practicing these, how could I be wrong? No, is one of the virtues, is there an 8th virtue? Being nice to women?
Nope.
Am I nice to other men?
Nope.
Do I just conduct my life with principles and morality and according to the virtues? And niceness is not one of them. Oh, okay. Oh, because I'm not nice. Oh, I'm a hater. Okay.
Well, mm-hmm.
Have fun.
Watch how women treat. Hold on, darling. Just let me say this. Watch how women treat men who treat them nicely. They totally walk over them. They disrespect them. They replace them. Yeah. They extract the resources from them. They don't want to deal with them in the long term. Yeah, they will use your resources. They will milk you for what you're worth. But they have deep contempt for you. They deep inside, they hate you. They are disgusted by you.
Yeah. Look, it's when, you know, so this guy's now saying, you know, if I want to go out of my way to insult him, how about a personal powwow? I get it, dude.
I don't think this is a man. I think it's a woman.
It could be. It could be. There certainly
has
been.
My husband here.
Yeah, you see, all of these people think that. Look, okay. He's asking me to meet up, and I know what he means. And here's the thing. People who say this always think that 2 things are going to be true. First, that there is such thing as a fair fight. And 2, that they're going to win the fair fight. I do not subscribe.
No, he's a gym bro, looks like.
Okay, fine, whatever.
Uh-huh.
I do not subscribe to the concept of a fair fight. If I get into a fight, somebody's leaving on a stretcher. I have spent enormous amounts of money making sure that person isn't me.
Physically and philosophically. Well, no, you've spent the money physically, but you believe that philosophically too.
Philosophically, I do not do fair fights. You know, and this guy's saying, "Oh, sign a waiver." Nope, not signing a waiver. You want to step into a fight with me? I will use whatever tools, whatever dirty tricks I know to end the fight as quickly and finally as possible. And I have spent way too much money making sure that it's not me. I don't do fair fights.
And it's not okay. He's asking. It looks like he's asking you for a duel type of fight.
No. And do you want to know what smart people do? Smart people don't get in fights because there is a huge amount of legal liability. Yeah. What I have just said here can be used against me in a court of law. Okay. And he knows this. So if I dismantle him, he can now come back to this video, which is live on YouTube, and he can say, aha, see, he said to do it. Waiver or not. See.
Oh, okay, dude. I think we should just, time.
It might be time to ban this guy.
Yeah,
we triggered something here. You know what? I think we have a Dunning-Kruger effect thing going on.
Maybe we might.
Shall I time him out or shall I ban him completely? But then it will remove all of the comments.
You can time him out. I don't care.
Okay, let's time him out. Awesome.
They were banned. Okay. But the thing that all of these men with all of this bravado, they think that they're going to step into the ring and there's going to be all these rules, and that if you violate those rules, that you're bad. And the reason they think that is because they need those rules to win. And by the way, that's exactly how women operate. I'm going to step into the ring with all these rules that protect me from you actually seriously hurting me. Okay.
I have a question for you. What exactly was it that we said that triggered this person?
Well, he can't respond. So
no, I'm asking you. No, I don't care what he says. No, go back and reflect. What was it that we were saying that was so offensive against his view of reality that triggered him? Have we said anything in here about hating on women? We're talking about, the natural order, hierarchy, patriarchy, the way things are. I don't think I've been hating on women. I kind of like women.
So do I. I'm married to one.
I'm recognizing reality. Is this a case where the descriptors are the problem?
Yes. So what the trigger point, thinking back, was he started talking about, and I can't see the comments now because they got removed, but oh crap. I remembered what it, let me go back here. Yeah, they got removed. What?
Well, I saw that. Did you press on banning him? Because I pressed on timing him out, which wouldn't remove the comments. I didn't want to completely delete the comments because then we wouldn't be able to go back.
Either that or somebody else banned him.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't me. I didn't.
Oh, I did time him out, but I didn't realize that it was banned.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, there was a point we said something that triggered him, and he said, "Oh, I don't want a." He said, I want a woman who's equal to me. And he had this, I don't want somebody who's in my orbit, or it was very, very standard leftist feminist pablum. It's like, so, but we were probably just talking about, actually, it was about the time we started talking about saying that the cure for combative women is combative women that he popped in. And so, well, that was fun. But And the reason that I said what I said about, you know, fighting and all that is I've actually said that before on stream a few times. And the reason I say that is because I want people to understand why I won't do that. Okay. People, they think that they're going to have some, and he even said Mayweather rules or something like that. Like we're going to step into a boxing ring and, you know, we're going to fight this as men. No, we're not. Because I'm not going to. The only fights that I get into are the ones that I have to. And by the way, that's true masculinity. The man who knows how to wield absolute violence and chooses not to is masculine. The man that what you saw in the chat that unfortunately we no longer have the chats for was the definition of an effeminate man.
Yeah.
Okay. They're coming in there, they're in their emotions and they're going to fight you, but the fight's going to happen under a whole bunch of rules, right? You know, is exactly how women think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Coach Vlad says he believed in equality and patriarchy is bad. You definitely triggered him. That's what happens with people low self-esteem. Yeah, with low self-esteem.
Low self-esteem. They have an effeminate mind, right? And a man does not think a man does not run to violence to solve problems. Women do. We know from the statistics are coming out, and we've talked about this in the Red Pill before. Women commit far more violence against men. Men just don't report it.
Okay, I've been thinking about this. Because people have said, oh, women are more violent than men. Is that true? Well, yes and no. Direct violence? No, men are directly more violent. Overall, women are more violent.
I know where
because,
you're going with
yes, they use direct violence when they think he's not going to come back at them. But then they use indirect violence,
state violence,
proxy violence, and state violence, and legal violence, and all kinds of other manipulative,
emotional violence.
violence.
Yeah, emotional
manipulation. When a woman wants to destroy you, she wants you dead.
Yeah, she wants.
And she doesn't want her hands dirty, so she will sick the state on you.
Yeah.
That is violence. No, she keeps her hands clean. It wasn't me.
Yeah, right. I'm such a perfect angel, right? Everyone believes me.
What is it Nick likes to say? She wipes her mouth and it said there's actually a Bible verse and Nick does a better job of this than I do.
Yeah,
but it's like she wipes her mouth and
she eats and wipes her mouth and says, "I've done no wrong.
I've done no wrong." Yeah, there it is. Yeah. So, you know, people. It's interesting that came up because it is an example of masculine control versus effeminate disorder. And we see this in guys far too often. And frankly, I kind of feel sad for the guy. You know, that was not a display that is going to be attractive to women. Oh, it will be to some. Okay. But
the women who believe in equal partnership, right?
No, those women actually probably would be repulsed by this.
Well, true.
The women who are just there for a show, who want the show of two men fighting in a boxing ring, they might be interested in it. But what I would actually do to the guy would be so graphic that it wouldn't appeal to them. And so, but Yeah, coach. Yeah, they
Mhm.
are. Like, I'm sitting here rationally thinking, okay, here's what you do. The first thing you do is you never get into a fight.
Mhm.
Okay. Whenever
I'm reading the last sentence.
yeah, whenever I will get a guard dog, I will get a female one for shit. You know what? Like, I can't argue with that. I really can't. Because oh man. And I don't know if you guys have been around male dogs versus female dogs, but the female dogs are actually better guard dogs. It's
Oh,
true.
wow.
So, but it's the fact that I won't fight. Did you notice right towards the end when I said that I wouldn't, that they immediately go to you're a weak man. Like I have to
Oh,
get up
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in the ring to prove my dominance.
Mhm.
Okay, fine. I get up in the ring, and then instead of squaring off, I go immediately to ground and slash your hamstrings, and now you can't do anything. And then I roll you up on top. Okay, I can't tell you what comes next, but
You know what?
but like, okay,
You
it's
don't.
graphic and it's over quick.
You,
There's no fun there.
you know why Plutarch is a smart guy? He's not going to go into a fight
Yeah.
unless he's forced to or he knows he can win.
Mhm.
And
Even if I know
whatever it takes.
even if I know I can win, I probably won't get into a fight because
Right.
there's a lot. People don't understand the risk you take when you get into a fight.
Yeah.
Okay. They really don't. Elena and I have been through self-defense classes. We've talked to
Mhm.
lawyers about this. You do not understand the risks you're taking when you do this. Most people don't.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
not just legal risks. Like you are taking your life into your own hands. If you start a
Mhm.
fight that you think you can win and you find out that you were wrong, oh shit. Right?
Well, I took a course in Commando Krav Maga. That's pretty physically intense.
Yeah.
But that's what they taught you. Okay, here's how to handle yourself. First of all, you
Mhm.
don't want to get in a fight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You want to get away.
Mhm.
If you can't get away, here's what you do to
Mhm.
deal with the situation and not escalate. If it comes down to it, okay, here's the next step. Here's what you have to do. Because knowing how to combat things, okay, then you're not surprised. You understand the situation. But first and foremost, get the hell away. If you got to run away, run away.
Steve, I'm going to say something. And Elena, I actually want you to clip this. Okay.
Okay.
So get your time code out. And I want to say this because I don't think enough men have heard this. And they aren't going, and the women are going to tell you all that I'm crazy. But the most masculine thing that a man can do in a fight is leave. Run away. Avoid the fight. And everyone's going to tell me, oh, that's not masculine. Masculine men would turn around and fight. No. Because you know what you can't do if you lose the fight? You cannot take care of any of your other responsibilities.
Yeah.
Okay? If I'm in a fucking pine box, you know what I'm not doing? I'm not taking care of my wife, my kids, my job. Okay? The most masculine thing a man can do in a fight is to leave.
Yeah. I 100%
Can I change the
agree.
subject here?
Please do.
Okay. I'm going to show this. Coach Vlad, you said, as a strong man, he wants a strong woman. Okay. Yep. I agree. You know what? As a smart man, I want a really smart woman. I want a smart woman who is disciplined, who knows how to work, get the job done, and follow my leadership. And we will be a team. But I will be the leader. Do I want a doormat? Holy shit. No. That would be boring. Because also that woman, I need to bounce ideas off of her. I need to talk to her. I need to understand because she's going to feel things where I think things. Yeah, okay. Thinking always comes over feeling, but I need her counsel
Mm-hmm.
and her opinions. So, okay, I'm debating things in my own mind, but now I can debate things with her, and I don't need her to be combative during these discussions, but provocative, thought provoking, all that. No, she does need to be a strong man or a strong woman, but she does not. That does not mean she needs to be a boss babe. Oh, hell no. I don't need those difficulties.
Well, we used to define strong women differently than we do today, and I wonder if there's a language problem here that we have in culture. Strong women were women who took care of the house, they took care of their children. A strong woman would have one kid on her hip, or two kids on in both arms, and she's chasing after the third kid, right? Like, are those women weak? One of the successes of feminism is the redefinition of words. And this is a perfect example of the
Mm-hmm.
redefinition of a word. Strong woman used to mean one set of things. The Nietzsche-structuralists, the French Nietzsche-structuralists came in and used their structuralism to redefine the words. And now we think a strong woman is a boss babe, boss bitch. No.
Yeah.
That is actually a weak woman. And guys, just as a general thing, that we should start calling boss babes weak women. I mean, they're gonna hate that shit, but I do this and I do that. Yeah, and you're weaker for it.
Yeah, that would actually make more sense. Mm-hmm.
So, a stream like this, I actually hope that it really irritates 90% of women, 95%, and 80% of men. I hope it does. Because guess what? The women it irritates are not the women I want. So I don't care. The woman who can understand what I'm saying, okay, she might be worthwhile to consider. The man who can understand this, yeah, okay, you know what? You might be worth forming a friendship with. The ones who are combative and can't see this, I really don't care. Go away.
Well, but that goes back to what we were saying earlier. What's the cure for combative women? Combative women. Because what is Steve saying? He's saying, go away. I don't want to deal with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then these combative women will end life with nothing. They'll have.
And don't be misled by the mask that they wear to hide their combativeness. If they are not, I actually agree with Pearl. In one of your live streams, she did mention that if a woman is not married by 25 years old, I think she said that, then she's not a wife material. Like, she's not. These women are combative still, even if they wear a femininity mask or any other kind of mask.
Well, and guys, go watch Elena on Instagram sometimes, because she has fun triggering girls like that.
Yeah.
Okay. But they put on the clothes of a trad wife, but the clothes do not make a woman.
Yeah.
Okay. the outfit you wear does not determine the content of your character. And I think that's kind of what Pearl is trying to say there is
Yeah.
if you're not married by 25, you've demonstrated that the content of your character is such that you
Mhm.
are not a marriageable person.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it doesn't matter what clothes you're wearing. You could be wearing the trad wife clothes. You could be wearing the shit. You could be wearing the emo
Mhm.
clothes, right? You have demonstrated through your own actions what you
Yeah.
value, and you do not value traditional marriage or religious marriage. You don't value any of that because if you had, you would
You
not
would.
be.
You wouldn't be larping for clout. You wouldn't be virtue signaling. You would
No,
be.
you wouldn't be unmarried.
Yeah. You
Really,
wouldn't be unmarried. Yeah.
if you really
So-
were trad, you would be married already.
So, do we have a pilot on this stream? Because I think it's time to guide this stream in for a landing.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we kind of went all over today. Trolls are fun. And
Mhm.
no, there will not be any fights in Vegas. Oh, this is such an emotional little emotional little bitch. But it's like, and guys, don't be that guy. Okay? Don't there's no frame there. There is no benefit to you there. Threatening men with fights. There's nothing there. And nothing is going to happen. Because I actually have frame. And I'm not going to get into a fight with a stupid person. And you know what? Elena wanted the stream to be, I've been listening to her talk, all last night over dinner about, oh, I want to go after the combative women and rah, 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 rah. And I was just thinking in the back of my head, okay, but the cure for combative women is combative women. So let them be combative. Why do I care? The problem will solve itself.
I want to have hope that there might be a couple of younger women who
abandon all hope, ye who enter here.
I know.
The red pill is not a place of hope; it's a place of truth.
I know.
There is hope in the truth, but we do not. Hope is not a tool to achieve something on its own.
Yeah.
The truth can give you hope in a future where the truth is revealed.
Yeah, it's not a good strategy.
Yeah, hope is not. It's just not a strategy. Period.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that you want to hope that women will come around. That's not up to you. I think I even said that last night.
I know.
Because the cure for combative women is combative women. Just let them be. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of them that are single, cat ladies who love their box wine. Okay. Let it happen. It is good and it is necessary. Just let it be. And you know what? There will be plenty of guys like that guy, that troll in the chat, who will be out there chasing those combative women. And do you want to know what my opinion of that is?
Let them go. Yeah.
If he wants to,
go for it.
we will let you have them.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, yeah. Number one, we can't do anything about it. Even if we could, we wouldn't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, you'll find out.
The hard way.
Yeah.
Coach Vlad thinks that there is a revival, Gen Z seeking Orthodox churches in huge numbers.
Oh, that's a topic for a whole.
That's another. Stream. Yeah.
and we're running out of time here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to go into that and do another 2 hours on that.
Yeah. Well, we will have Coach Vlad, looks like, at some point. Send me a DM, Coach Vlad, on Instagram or an email, and then we will schedule. Guys, just the heads up, next week, Steve, unless you are here, we could do something with you, but it would be just you and me. Plutarch won't be able to join us. And then on the
we'll
14th,
talk about it.
yeah, we have a guest already. So yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe. And it was a fascinating discussion today. I really enjoyed it.
It got derailed a bit.
I know. Well, anyway, guys, please go subscribe to the Resurgence of Sanity YouTube channel. They have very interesting shows for you on Wednesdays at 5:45 p.m. Pacific. I'm working on the clips for them, so if you don't have time to watch the full format videos, at least watch the clips so that you get the idea of what guys are talking about. And then join us on Saturdays for these deep dive conversations with the Resurgence of Sanity guys at 9:15 a.m. Pacific. Then join us for regular workouts from Mondays to Fridays and Sundays. And on Sundays, guys, request some songs for me to work on. I'm not a professional pianist, but I do my best, okay? You can check the list of songs on my website. And then if you'd like to stay more consistent and learn about safe fitness, subscribe to my Patreon. There are a lot of videos for you there. And then you can join me for the cross-training fitness program on Udemy. And also, occasionally, I write the Substack articles to kind of summarize our conversations here. Please go subscribe and read a couple of articles there as well, okay? So anyway, that's our schedule. Let me remove it. And yeah, well, I think we are done here, right, guys?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Like and subscribe to the Resurgence of Sanity, guys, and we'll see you next time, okay? Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Elena's Barre, the best place on the internet, the very best by far.